Let me make sure this here. 1 second. Greetings, everyone. Let me make sure every platform. We're on Facebook, on Yamaya Faye's page, and FGTV. So I'm just making sure everything is up properly, and then we'll get started. Let's see. All right, perfect. Okay, sounds good. All right, greetings, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Speaking with the Sage, entitled Grassroots, Generational Identity and Legacy. It takes a village to raise a community. So in our panel tonight are eight H.P.S, Empress, Yamaya. It's a mouthful, so bear with me. Arion Herbert, and Heiress Jauqline Faye-Yemajier, yours truly. Also, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and check out the channel as well. I trust you will get a whole lot of lifestyle content that will interest you. Okay, so how is everyone doing? How's the panelists doing? Please let me know. How are you guys doing? You guys can hear me? Everything? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
I
if you
am
can.
good. I'm good.
Same. I'm doing well. I'm doing well, and thanks for asking. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you. I'm good. I'm good. And also, we're very international too. I'm in
Yeah,
Spain. You guys are in the US. It's
most
definitely,
definitely.
we're overseas. We're crossing the borders, which is really cool. Really, really nice.
Well,
Nice.
Awesome.
I just want to open up the portalways. I'm
Yes,
going to
yes,
open up the
most
portalways.
definitely. We still
Definitely
about
as
that.
far, yes, most definitely as far as, the north is from the south, east is from the west. All of those that will see this live now or in the near future
Hmm.
will have that ears to hear, a heart to receive, and a spirit to contain the word and move in action. Move in action and discipline. So, this is definitely something I have been looking forward to. I've been looking forward to, but I'm gonna go ahead, Eris, and let you start it with the first question, and we can get into it.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So, Ariane,
Hmm.
all right. So, please do give us a introduction of who you are and what you're representing tonight. We already know a little bit, but of course the audience don't. So please do let us know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Before I do that, I just want to take a moment to thank both of you ladies for welcoming me on this
Oh yeah.
platform and giving me an opportunity to kind of share my story. My name is Arion Herbert, and I'm the founder and owner of a company called Main Attraction Recreational Sports. It's an adult sports organization that my wife and I started here in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I reside. And we started this in 2016, right? And we really kind of just started this with a variety of sports as a way to connect local residents in the community. That was the premise of what we envisioned. And when we started, we did um, we offered sports that many of us played growing up. We did softball and dodgeball and basketball, and we also did adult kickball. And in our time offering these different sports, we just started to notice like many of the adults were gravitating more towards the adult kickball. And so
Okay.
naturally, we just channeled a little bit more energy into that. It was like, if you offer five sports and a lot of people are leaning towards, one of them, then just naturally you're going to channel a little bit more energy into that. And, one thing led to another, and it ended up morphing into more than we ever envisioned. We started our first adult kickball league with six teams. There was 90 people in the city that came out, and they would come out on a weekly basis to just play kickball every week. And
Wow.
so we came up with the idea. It was like, hey, you know what? We know that we're offering these leagues to these residents in the community, but what if we did something special? What if we dedicated one weekend where we just invited the best of the best to come out and compete? We'll make it a 1 day thing. We'll let them come out. They can compete for um, a cash prize or what have you, and let's just see where it goes. And on that particular weekend, when we decided to do it, we noticed that we were attracting teams from nearby cities and states in the Southeast. Some were coming from Georgia and Tennessee and Florida. And it was at that point where we realized that we were onto something. And what that transitioned into was a lot of those players and teams started asking us, hey, we love coming to Charlotte, North Carolina to play in these weekend events that you're hosting. When are you going to bring this to us? And that was the first step where we learned that there was an appetite for our brand beyond the borders of Charlotte, North Carolina. And as I sit here and talk to you ladies today, from that time up until now, we're the most popular brand of national adult kickball tournaments in the country. We're in 14 different markets here. In 2022, we had our breakthrough moment where we had the opportunity to feature our brand live on ESPN.
Wow.
At the time, have become a trusted partner with this brand. We've now, hosted more adult kickball tournaments than any other organization in the United States of America. We are the first and only organization and Black-owned organization to ever feature the game of adult kickball live in its entirety on a nationally syndicated network. We've paid out more in cash prizes than any other organization since our time being in the industry. We've generated more of an economic impact than anyone. As it stands today, we're also the leader in terms of our social media reach, with over nearly 200,000 organic followers across all platforms and nearly 200 million earned media views. So, we've done some really cool things along our way, and we feel like our journey is just getting started.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so I do know a lot that a lot of your story outside of meeting you, enjoying your company, enjoying the sport at hand. I really, out of all that, because you said a mouthful, so we're gonna kind of piece it down bit by bit a little bit. The kickball. Let me ask you this for yourself. Were you into sports when you were younger? Did you play kickball? If so, what position?
Yeah, absolutely, 1,000%. I was, I grew up with 5 brothers and 2 sisters, right? So I lived in a house of 7 siblings, and I grew up in a very, very competitive household. And sports was kind of our thing. In high school, I played basketball, I ran track. And obviously in grade school, kickball was something that we all did, and so for me, when you ask about what position did I play as a 3rd grader, I played every position. I was all over the field. So yeah, so I grew up playing the game of kickball for sure as a kid.
I love that. I love that. Now, and I say that, and I'm just smiling because it vibrates so high with me because I play kickball too. I play basketball. We come from a sports team. Hello.
Yeah.
I mean, it was softball, it was basketball, it was track and field. We were doing some of everything. Bowling, the whole nine. And being that I was the opportunity to be raised in many parts of the United States, as well as traveling across seas. The one thing I remember, even before Hawaii became a part of the United States, that sort of thing, we were playing kickball there. Like, it was kickball. It was just hello. Everybody loved the freaking game. And with that being said, now, because you said you started it as something for the adults. Now, what made you? What kid part of you? What side of you was just like, okay, I need to do something for us, my grown folks, the grown folks. How?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's a really good question. And the interesting part about that is it all happened by accident. It was never intentional for us to start kickball. What ended up happening was, growing up, I played sports all throughout high school. And one of my good friends that I grew up with and that I went to high school with, and my ex-teammate, he grew up playing sports too. And once we finished school, he ended up moving to DC, and he got involved in playing adult kickball while he was up there. And so he would always tell me about, oh, I can't do this because I got a kickball game this weekend, or I got a game, and I'm like, man, like I don't know about this kickball thing, man. We grew up playing real sports, and like, I don't know. And so he was like, hey, look, he was like, I promise you, if you ever get a chance to check it out, you'll see why I'm so hooked. And one weekend, we happened to be in the same city, and he was having a game that weekend. And so, my wife and I, we just went to go check it out. I was like, hey, we're not doing anything else. Let's check it out. And the energy and the environment was so electric, and I was just blown away. And immediately after seeing it, I was like, I would love to bring something like this to Charlotte. I just was intrigued on bringing something like that to Charlotte, and that's how it all started.
Mm.
And then once you started to kind of do it and offer it, you started to notice how adults was naturally gravitating towards it because of that childhood nostalgia. We
Yes.
all, we all connect to
There
the
it
game
is.
through our childhood memories.
There
And
it
Yes.
so
is.
It's
that's
true.
what that's what that's what that explains why so many people, when we were offering a variety of sports, were gravitating towards kickball, because
Yeah. Yeah.
it was the
Yeah.
one thing that we offered that you can connect to your childhood. and and,
Yes.
and so yeah, so
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I definitely will put some pointers in. Obviously, I am, a younger generation from you wise, so but I'm still wise myself.
mhm.
um, However, I do remember. Are they still implementing kickball now in schools? Because I definitely had it in my school. Are they still having it? Because I believe you. Do you have children or that are in school?
Yeah, I have two boys, 5 and 7. They're going on
Okay,
15
okay.
and
Oh.
17, so they think they're grown. They have opinions now. It's crazy. um
Are
but
they? Yeah.
so they're into sports. They're into soccer. They play basketball. They
Okay.
swim. Um, and what's funny is towards the end of the school year, I was actually going to pick them up from school one day, and the kids were on the playground playing kickball. And so it's
Okay.
still played. It's still played in schools
Uh-huh.
at the youth level. However,
Okay.
it's not in a structured format, right? And
Okay.
so
Yeah.
when I say that, typically you'll have like your educator, like your PE teacher, or
Mm.
your teacher. They will come out and they'll say, hey, let's just play a game of kickball. But the rules that they're playing by, or the structure and the format that they're playing by, it's
Hmm.
all over the
Hmm.
place. And so
Okay.
recently at the top of the year, my wife and I, we started what's called U.S. Kickball. And it's a nonprofit, youth-focused kickball organization that now is going to serve as the governing body for all things kickball. And it's going to be our first push to get the game towards the Olympics in the next few years.
Oh my
And
God.
yeah, so a part of our initiative will be not only getting our sport in a structured format in elementary schools, but middle schools, high schools, and intramural
Thank
programs as well. So
you.
Yes,
yeah,
bring it
so
back. Bring it
Thank
back.
yeah, so
you.
I would like. It's one of those things. My yaya always used to say that things are always in rotation. Okay,
hmm hmm
everything. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel
right.
like most definitely now, like of course, your generation, even my generation. How old am I? Yaya? I'm almost 28.
Yes,
But
you're
even
almost
my
28.
generation are just we have nostalgia and we want to bring that stuff back. And it's one of those
hmm
things with things that like pioneered or first
hmm
started off. I have a feeling they always will be, let's say, always be in fashion, always be, how do you say, recycled back, because it's like
Mm-hmm.
the
hmm
essence of the that time, this sort of
Mm-hmm.
hmm
thing. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like everything else, and even goes to sports, it goes to music, it goes to
Fashion,
films,
everything. Yeah.
fashion.
Mm-hmm.
The pioneers, like the originators of whatever it was, whatever industry, it always ends up coming back to that because everything gets copied off of it, you know.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
kickball definitely is something that's very nostalgic, and I think it will always be, especially with you being a part of bringing it kind of more back into the elementary base. Everyone's
hmm
going to have that memory, so it's always going to be like that. So kudos to you, I really do, because I freaking loved it. Absolutely
Thank
loved
you.
kickball stuff. Really,
Yeah,
really nice.
no, and thank you, and I'm listening to you, and you make a very compelling point. Everything comes around full circle, and as you talk
Yes,
about music and fashion and things like that, and
yes,
me, I couldn't agree more with you. Like we see it, like even like the music, right? Like a lot of the songs that we hear today, the music was just recycled with the samples from the '70s and
yes,
the '80s and the night, right?
Proper.
Um,
Proper.
with the fashion, right? I remember a point of time where baggy clothes were in, and then that was out, and now baggy's back in, right? Like and
Right.
like even hairstyles, right? Like
Right.
we saw where people wore their hair natural, then people wore their hair straight. Now people wear their hair. So yeah,
yes.
you're 1,000% spot on in that space in terms of everything coming around full circle. And with us, we understand that there's an importance in terms of getting the game reintroduced at that level, because in full transparency, like my business, I won't be here in 10 years if I don't plant that seed in elementary
Thank
schools now,
you.
you know. And
Mm-hmm.
I think a big part of my desire to do that is because I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old right now, two
Mhm.
boys.
The
They travel
legacy.
to these
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. They travel to these tournaments with me. They're watching and they're dissecting everything. They see me on TV and they really think that this is a professional sport. And so
Ashe.
when we're going to these tournaments, I see my kids on the side with the other kids that are there with their families, and they're setting up their own kickball games. And so
I
I'm like,
love
I,
that.
I, I have to I have to create something for them when they get
Ashe.
18, 19, 20, you know, and
Ashe.
they're gonna be the Olympians, you know. So yeah, I have to do it now, you know. I have to
That
do it now. So I'm doing it for them.
that is
Mhm.
beautiful. I mean, you literally answered a
Yeah.
question, two of the questions that I was going to
Yes, I
ask.
was gonna say that.
Yo, because that is
Awesome.
definitely what I'm like. I'm on the outside, and I, of course, bared witness to it full hand, straight,
Hmm.
but also just thinking about, or just more importantly, reflecting on, watching someone of your caliber, of course,
Hmm.
you being a man,
Hmm.
and a divine masculine, and holding down the fort, not
Hmm.
just in the standpoint of being a provider, but you're being a
Hmm.
leader. And you're not
Hmm.
just being a leader to your family, you're also
Hmm.
extending that to other families around you. And so when I
Mm.
even thought about, okay, well, who is it that we need to bring to the table when we speak about community that is going in an untraditional way,
Hmm.
expanding the foundation of what we all need to be doing in some
Hmm.
form of application for our lives, for our children, and
Hmm.
also for us to eat and sup
Hmm.
even now as we move through it. We don't want to wait until we're, passed on.
Hmm.
We want to be able
Hmm.
to obtain those things and enjoy those things now. And
One
how
thousand
much more
percent.
greater can we do that, but bringing something that extended from our own youth and being able to make it into a format that someone
Hmm.
else can carry on that legacy. So I had definitely had thought about your legacy, and thought about
Thank
your
you.
children, like, okay, he's definitely expanding that. And the other part I want to ask you is, because there's another part of this too, because you're not just doing this, you're also incorporating structure, community, business. I mean, you're putting it all encompass. And I want to ask, especially if we're talking about, it being an adult sport. Okay, so what's
Hmm.
the requirements to, be a player, to have a
Hmm.
team? Is it like a
Hmm.
franchise situation? How
Hmm.
is that structure? What does that look
Yeah,
like?
that's a good question. So to answer the first part of that question, anyone could sign up and anyone could play, right?
Okay.
Um, and there's no experience that's required for our events. While most of the teams that you see play, for a beginner, they would say, "Oh, this is being played at an extremely high level." We try to do our best to offer different tiers over the course of the weekend that's inviting and welcoming to all skill levels. So you'll have your high level division, you'll have your mid
Mm,
tier level division,
mm,
and if we're able to get enough players and teams interested to play a division below that, then we'll
mm.
offer like a social division and things like that, right? Kind of as an
Okay.
introductory way. Now, in terms of the question that you asked as it relates to franchise, the structure of our business is pretty unique. It's pretty cool because we have essentially created what we consider the biggest stage for kickball players and kickball teams to play on. Now,
Mm,
kickball currently is played in all 50 states, right? There's a local
mm.
kickball league that you could join in Atlanta, Raleigh, Tennessee,
Okay.
you name it, right?
Okay.
We don't have any we don't have any connection or associations with those individual organizations all across America, right? So they play in their respective cities. But here's what we've been blessed and fortunate with the ability to do. We've created, like, in a sense, the Super Bowl stage. And when we say we're going to a city, we're going to New Orleans to host turf wars. What we're noticing is that all of these players and teams that are playing in their individual local leagues, they're like, hey, the biggest show in town is coming. We need to pull our teams
Ashe.
and we need to go where they go. And so that's
Uh,
kind of what we've developed. However, with US Kickball being one of our initiatives, one of our goals will now be to work closely with a lot of these sports organizations, have them
mm,
fall under the US Kickball umbrella, have
mm,
there be a uniform set of rules and a structure that they
mm.
play that mirrors the stage that we've created, right? So, that's kind of the way that it's structured and set up now.
Okay.
While my intro into this industry started off as a local league, like I shared with you earlier, we've kind of shifted and segued more into national tournaments and just hosting all across the country.
No, well, that made sense. Okay, so when I met you, what tournament was that again? I mean, I
Tampa.
enjoyed it. Of course, brought the
Hmm.
fellas out to do the stretching and all that other
Yep.
stuff, make sure everybody
Yep.
good. So, we
Yep.
we definitely want to keep connected with that because
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
to work people out. We got to work them out
Absolutely.
after doing running
Absolutely.
the post.
Yeah.
But
So, yeah.
what was
I'm
that
sorry. Go
one?
ahead. So that was our second tournament of the year. That was in March, during March Madness weekend. It was in Tampa, and it was called Battle of the States, right? And so, the uniqueness behind that particular tournament that you came to was that every single player and team that you saw, the teams were state specific. So all of the teams, the criteria is, in order for you to play for a particular team, you either have to currently live or be born in the state that you're representing. And we
Okay.
had the collection of player teams come from there. And they came out. We had, I think, nearly 35 teams came out that weekend and competed. And so it was a really cool event. It was our
It was
second of 14
fabulous.
tournaments. Thank you. It was our second of 14 tournaments throughout the year, and it was it was really cool. It was really fun, and yeah, so we managed to do that.
It was absolutely fun. I'm smiling like I'm still there. I did my little videos. Of course, I went there around to every team and all the different. I love that it was almost like we were going back in time when I was
Hmm.
wearing Jazzy J airbrushed on my shirt. Like
Hmm.
Fresh
Hmm.
Prince of Bel Air. It was just,
Yep.
it was
Yep.
such a vibe. It was
Yeah.
such a vibe,
Yeah.
and we're talking about people that were being competitive but respectfully competitive. Like
Hmm.
Yes.
everybody, excuse my mouth, everybody knew how to be able to shit talk,
Hmm.
all that, but still be 100% like, you good, you did it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Talk
Hmm.
all the game, everything else. So I just
Hmm.
thought it was so freaking, it was just awesome. It was
Thank you.
really, really, really awesome. And I'm just
Thank
like,
you.
okay, I got to be more a part of this and I got to tell
Yeah.
other people about it. I
Hmm.
told several different people, I was just like, listen, y'all, okay, y'all don't know. Some people knew and some people didn't. And I was just like, no, 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 no. We have to continuously put the word out about
Hmm.
not just your organization, but anyone that's the catalyst. And
Hmm.
not just a catalyst with an idea, but a catalyst with a concept that will
Hmm.
expand that own person's time and space and move into other people's time and space, community, let's just put it that way,
Hmm.
community, and be impactful where it brings everybody together, like
Hmm.
really in real time. So you even mentioning that having that Super Bowl aspect,
Hmm.
it's definitely what I was thinking about because I got
Hmm.
to see and talk to coaches and play. I'm just like, oh, this is the real deal, honey. This is
Hmm.
this is gonna make it happen, really.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
when I was thinking about that, far as when we're talking about expansion, I really see this like a proper empire, like real shit. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
real shit, like
Hmm.
merchandise, the
Hmm.
areas of operation, a fitness
Hmm.
center. Like,
Hmm.
hello, I could keep going. But
Yeah, no,
you
no.
feel what I mean?
I'm there. I'm right there with you. And I think that's a part of what we would consider an inevitable journey for us. Is that's one thing that we're
Mm-hmm.
wanting to do. Obviously, first and foremost, our primary focal point is building community, right? Like, so we've hung our hat on building a community and the various ways that we go about doing that. But then also being able to expand our reach through different channels, like merchandise, like
Mm-hmm.
TV and media.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that we haven't really dived into, but a part of building communities, making connections with local businesses. That's been a huge driving force behind the success of our brand. Is like how you came on site and was a part of that experience. You actually helped create and enhance that experience, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
now we're offering services to athletes and players where we're pampering them throughout the weekend, and these are things that they're going to leave
Thank
remembering
you.
the recovery component of
Thank
the
you.
event, right? Like, and so these are all intentional ways for us to kind of grow. Obviously, yeah, I think I even looked at, like, yeah, what would that be like if we did own a recovery brand or something along those lines. My mind is always wired.
Right.
Our own hydration brand, and
Yes.
things like that. So I think one of the cool things about the brand that we have is that while a lot of people look at it from a kickball lens,
Mm-hmm.
I share with people that I'm really in the business of travel and tourism, right? Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the players that are coming out to compete, yeah, they're playing kickball, but 90% of them are traveling from other cities. They're
That
booking
part.
flights, they're staying in hotels,
Yes.
they're fine. And so like there's a lot of unseen in terms of the buyer's journey that there creates opportunities for us to really kind of create business endeavors and things like that
Mm-hmm.
aside of just what's on the field. So yeah.
Oh my God. I'm so with you. I mean, we connected when we over the phone, and then when we finally saw each, it was like, okay, hands down,
Hmm.
we got this.
Hmm. Yeah, we
We
got it. We
definitely
got
are
it.
on the same page, and
Hmm.
we enter and understand that. Now,
Yep.
with that being said, too, now I have to step into my side of what I would call the wellness. Of course, we're going to talk about physical fitness, and of
Hmm.
course, people are fit out there because they're
Hmm.
playing kickball. I mean, you got to run,
Hmm.
you got to kick, the pace yourself, that sort of thing.
Hmm.
Um, but as the catalyst, okay, because
Hmm.
okay, I'm some people call me Empress, other people say
Hmm.
yay yay,
Hmm.
meaning that mama. But as that mother, that nurturer, divine feminine, when I think and reflect over a divine masculine and the aspects or the traits of him, I also am quite curious of his discipline for self, like his discipline. What does he do for himself? What does that discipline look like for his physical and his mental aspect of his body? So I'm gonna ask that of you, because you
Hmm.
definitely have, okay, you have a family, you have a divine feminine next to you, you have your legacy, your children.
Hmm.
Um, but what do you do for you? What's that discipline that you do for you that you found that has tempered yourself, that's
Hmm.
allowed you to have that mental vow to release stress where it doesn't need to, the ability to be able to see with vision and
Hmm.
clarity, even though what may be in front of you may seem like it's a block or a delay.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for me, it's a multitude of things.
Mm,
And I try to balance it out. Number one is I try to always lean into my faith. Make sure that um, I'm very tapped into that space. I also too, a lot of times what works for me is my moments of isolation where I can meditate. I have
Ashe.
my own space in my house that I've
Mm,
dedicated to that.
mm,
So whether it's just kind of taking moments to myself and playing soothing sounds, meditation, things like
mm.
that just kind of calms and relaxes me. And even sometimes when I work on my computer, like I'll
Mhm.
play just relaxing and calming sounds. I think that sometimes it kind of gets me into a space where I could just kind of relax. And then as of late, I really kind of started getting into riding my bicycle.
Yes.
I did it today. I rode my bicycle about 2.5 miles, which is not a
Mhm.
lot, but
It's
riding my
something.
bicycle, it has allowed me to also tap into that childhood nostalgia. I didn't realize how long it's been since I actually rode a bike and was riding down a hill, and the enjoyment of just feeling free in that moment. And so, when I'm on my bicycle, and it's crazy, but when I'm on my bicycle, I get to escape for a little while. And that has really kind of been one of those peaceful moments for me where in that brief moment, you're not thinking about anything else. I'm not stressed.
Ashe.
I'm not, and so I think a lot of those type of things are ways where I can kind of escape the
Mm,
stress, the
mm,
pressure of having to deliver. And
mm.
then,
Mhm.
also too, I remember, I try to remember what it's all being done for. I try to,
Mm.
luckily for me, this is my full-time job. And so I had the
Ashe.
opportunity to, um, wake up every morning. I make breakfast for my boys. I take them to school. I pick them up. I take them to their extracurricular activities. We're riding to and from school every day. We're listening to songs together, and I'm not missing a moment of their development and their growth. And so for me, a lot of times it's also remembering that this is why, or a large
Mm,
part of why it's being done is for them too. So yeah, I got a
mm,
lot of things to kind of, help me,
mm, mm.
you
Love
know.
I
that.
so appreciate that. I have to ask. I mean, I'm the sage here. As you already know, I'm the sage. I'll click off in a minute. Be 1 minute with the hat, the ball cap, the next minute,
Yeah.
all elegant, but
Hmm.
overall, always looking at the aspect of the spiritual self, the saging
Hmm.
self. Because I've
Hmm.
worn multiple hats. Most of us have worn multiple hats. But what is
Hmm.
it that you do for the divine self that keeps you coming up, showing up? Consistent in every way. And I appreciate you saying that. And that's why I asked, because
Hmm.
I believe the divine masculine also needs that platform where he can be able to like release himself, have his
Hmm.
altar, have his
Hmm.
time. Because
Hmm.
you're not just the provider, you're not just the leader, you're also a being yourself
Hmm.
that has
Hmm.
come here with a life purpose and path.
Yeah.
And how better would that be, serviced, but by you having your own peace time.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, we see that stuff on social media. Be his peace or be her peace. And for me, first and foremost, that person needs to be their own peace. So, how do they find that? By
Yeah.
having a discipline to do
Hmm.
that, to take
Yeah.
that time to do that. So, I
Yeah.
love that you're riding the bike. I absolutely, I can appreciate it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm not there all the way, and I'm still
Yeah.
searching. I'm still searching, and I'm still traveling a path where, I think, finding that place of peace is something that I'm still, committed to finding. After this
Hmm.
podcast, I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna work out.
Yes.
And that's a part of me searching and discovering
Mm,
opportunities for me to
mm,
kind of
mm,
find that place of peace. So yeah, absolutely.
hmm I
I'm.
always tell people, what everyone says, about the, being perfect. I believe that we all walk out our perfection.
Hmm.
So that is the part of the piece that we self discover
Hmm.
in many ways. And though we
Hmm.
may, wear those multiple hats, it's a really good thing. So I appreciate you being open and receptive to learn that for yourself, because that's also going to impact your children, the legacy you got, stewardship. Oh, you have stewardship over two other divine masculines that are growing, watching, observing, which leads me into my next question. um, how have you seen what you're doing, and the people that have stood by you, your wife included, the support, that sort of thing? How have you seen the community thrive? And I mean, not just playing the game, but like
Hmm.
words, conversations, deeds, uh, impact, like
Hmm.
that type of thing. Because of course you're doing it for community, but what are some of the things, or I would call them rewards personally,
Hmm.
when I've assisted and have group women or dealt with people in any capacity, I get the biggest reward out of seeing them actually flourish,
Hmm.
and move and stand in their own, on their own square. So how have
Hmm.
you seen the community move like that? Like conversations, you might have met somebody this way, but now they're speaking a different way based off of this community that you've built.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And what I tell a lot of people is that I always refer to kickball as just a disguise to really bring people together, right?
Mm,
And
mm,
what we noticed a lot is a lot of people who sign up and compete in this, they're looking for community. And that's one
mm,
thing that I've observed from the first day I started. I can't tell you how many people we saw um, through the game of kickball start off as friends and end up as lifelong partners.
all
You
right.
meet, you've met your best friend in the sport. You've met doctors, lawyers, tax
Yes.
accountants. You know what I mean? So like the friendships, they go so far beyond the field in terms of,
Mm,
the connections that you're making, and you're making, and a lot of people making lifelong best friends. Needless to say, that the game has served as therapy. It's been very therapeutic for a lot of these players. I can't tell you how many players we've had that have lost a significant other or lost a family member or
mm,
lost a loved one, and they leaned into the game because that was all they had. And the way that the community rallied behind them and supported them, whether it's buying flowers or giving them a shoulder to cry on or things like that, it's really like a family, you know? And so, you know, it's been one of those things where it's been beautiful to watch unfold. In addition to that, from the economic side of things, I really believe that there's also been another side of it where, you know, a lot of things, you know, it doesn't get highlighted. But for us, you know, we managed to successfully build out over the last year a social media team. And when we built out the social media team, it is composed of two individuals that has really kind of bought into the concept of helping us grow our social media channel. And when we first decided to build this team, you know, one of the things that we shared with them is, hey, we believe that there's going to be an opportunity for us to monetize on this platform if we do it the right way. And since that time, you know, we've been doing extremely well in that space, so much so to the point where those that are managing the social media channel for us have managed to earn enough income. One of the gentlemen that works for us used some of the money he made from managing our social media to use as a down payment on his townhome for him and his family, right? So in terms of being able to funnel funnel money through our staff and things like that. And then let's talk about the economic impact that we have when we go to any, you know, respective city. One of the things that I mentioned is that people are staying in hotels, they are purchasing flights, they're doing these type of things. Well, I can tell you that just one of the events that we did in Maryland a few years ago, we had an economic impact of over 2.5 million on a 3-day weekend, right? And so when you talk about the game of kickball being able to stimulate an economy, right, and bring, you know, help support local businesses, help support hotels, bring tax dollars and tax and tourism dollars to the community, right? Shopping and retail, like all of that is being done through kickball. So when you talk about the impact that we have, it's therapeutic. You're building relationships, you're creating and establishing, you know, you're doing all of these things. And obviously, you know, there's a flip side to it too. You know, I'm sure that we can talk about a lot of the things that we, you know, that the negative part of it, you know, when you're thriving, there's certainly a lot of people who may not be too excited to see that. But you know, what we've really hung our hat on is really kind of leaning into the community that we're trying to build and catering to the people who are all about being positive and really want to kind of, you know, kind of take this to the next level. So yeah, we've seen it all. You know, we really seen it all, and you know.
I appreciate that. I so appreciate you. That's why I had to have you on there. I mean, I talked about you. The people that are close to me in the circle, I'm like, no, honey, no, we need to get him. No, the turf wars outlet has to come this way. People need to know because it's not just one thing. It's it's a breath of life. It made me feel. I called my air in Spain. I was like, this is what I'm talking about.
She sent me videos and everything.
Wow. I'm blown away. I mean, honestly, you know, when you're in it, like how I am, sometimes, you know, I don't really take a moment to step outside and kind of understand and pay attention to what's going on. And sometimes other people have to be like, hey, do you see what you're doing right now? And I'm like, nah, I don't see it because I'm in it. And so, you know, I do understand and know that what we're creating is something special. You know, and sometimes I do try to take a moment to step back and kind of have that moment and reflect. But you know, I love that it's being observed by so many people around us, and you know, you're taking a moment to kind of acknowledge it and highlight it, and then again share this platform and give me an opportunity to speak about it a little bit more. But yeah, you know, it's definitely, I think we're doing something really cool here.
Well, I definitely will be a part of it as oftentimes as I can.
Thank you.
It is definitely something that I will welcome into the sacred space. Of course, as you said, you're going to go and do your gym. I have learned to be even more disciplined with myself to get myself centered focus with the meditation, with the yoga, Pilates, weightlifting, whatever it is. The whole point is to channel thyself, to affect other people to do the same. And you are exemplifying that. And I just want to honor you with that. Like, I know that in this particular time and season in the spiritual realm, there's a lot of things going on. Of course, the matriarch is rising, and I'm one of those matriarchs. However, I will say this, that I have a overwhelming love and compassion for the divine masculine. for him to stand on his throne, like literally stand on his throne and rule from here, but having the heart to expand it to other people. And so,
Thank
in
you.
any way that I can do that in service the highest good of that, being who I am, because yes, I'm competitive. I love to do it, but I'm gonna sit in my place. I
Right,
don't mind sitting on my seat, honey, and just let
right,
him do what he needs to do.
right.
And I'll support him and water him too.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Oh, the ESPN thing. I did want to ask
Yes,
you that, and
yes.
then I don't
For
let
the,
you go.
yeah.
What was
Cool.
up with? How did you feel about that ESPN moment? Tell them a little bit about that, and then I'm gonna let you go. Like really.
Yeah, no, no, that's a really good question. That's cool. ESPN, the opportunity for that came about in 2021. We so can I tell you a quick story real quick?
Yes,
Let me tell you a
yes,
quick story.
please,
Okay,
please.
okay, we got time. Okay, so
Yeah, we got time.
okay, so I'll give you a long story, but it's all gonna come full circle. But in 2000 in 2020, I was working corporate America. I was working for a finance
Ask you
company
that.
as a human resources project manager. Right, I was working corporate America 2020. July of 2020, my wife and we welcomed our second child, Rory, and I went on paternal leave. Right, and when I went on paternal leave, I was gone for 4 months. When I came back to work, that day I came back to work, I was placed on a written notice. The
Mm,
company had informed me that while I was gone, there was just some kind of things that were left in disarray, and I was like, okay, well, okay, I'll put on written notice. I need to tighten up. And 90 days from the day they put me on a written notice,
mm.
they met with me and they told me that they were eliminating my role. This now was 2021. And so, as I'm sure you ladies know, this was in the midst of the pandemic. I just welcomed my
Yes.
second child. I had just welcomed my second child. I'm in the midst of a pandemic and now I lose my job.
Mm.
And as soon as I lost my job, I had to face my wife and tell her, hey, I'm no longer employed. And while I was telling her this, I'm on my laptop and I'm working on my laptop. And she's asking me, well, if you don't have a job, why are you still working on your work laptop? So I said, hey, well, I'm trying to find my resume so I can email it to myself so I can start applying for other jobs. And her
Mhm.
response at the time was, well, why would you look for another job if you already have your own business that you've kind of been devoted and dedicated to?
Ashe.
Right?
Mhm.
Why not try to lean into that and see what that would look like. Look, we don't have to worry about daycare. We don't have to worry about any of that. The household is fine, and corporate will always be there, right? Why don't you
Mm.
just give this a shot and see where you could take it? And since that time, I have not stepped foot in corporate America. I've been doing this full time
Mhm.
ever since, right? And it was that
Mm-hmm.
same year. It was that same year where the ESPN opportunity presented itself. Had I been working corporate America, I would have never been in a room where I was able to
Yes.
have ESPN
Mm-hmm.
approach me. And so later in
Mm.
2021, my wife and we went to a sports conference, really just kind of educate ourselves on the way that the industry works. And it was at that
Mm.
moment where
Yeah.
ESPN approached us and presented the opportunity for us to showcase our game on their network. And
Mhm.
so the opportunity that they gave us at the time was a 1 hour segment that they do on their show every year. It's an annual segment that they do where they invite a bunch of sports organizations that feature seldom seen sports, and they
Mm.
dedicate one day where we can just kind of showcase that to the
Yes.
masses. And so, me having a history about what that network or what that program was like, I knew that it was important for us to make sure that when we do showcase adult kickball, we wanted to showcase it in as a professional manner as possible. I didn't want
Mm.
casual sports fans to look at this on ESPN and laugh
Yeah.
at,
Yeah.
joke, oh, so we had professional uniforms, we sold tickets for the event, we had smoke machine, DJ, MC, you name it.
I love it. I love
And
it.
ESPN, they put us on their network at 8 a.m. on a Friday, and we absolutely crushed it. We had 700 people in the sand swag surfing at 8 a.m. We bought the
Nice.
electricity, and ESPN was blown away. They had never seen anything like it. And it was at that moment where we managed to leverage that showing into a
Mm-hmm.
long-term partnership with the network. And since then, we've signed a streaming deal with them where we're now showcasing our product on their network, not only the one time a year on their dedicated 1 hour segment, but we also have our own segments where we stream ESPN as well too.
I am
Cool.
so ecstatic for you for the expansion that is already here. It's already
Thank you.
reaping a harvest.
Thank
Like
you.
as my mouth can continue confessing it, like real time.
Thank you.
You're in the trenches, or better yet, I should say you're in the grass, honey. That
Yeah.
grassroots,
Yeah.
and you're moving through. You're mowing the lawn of many
Thank you.
different cities,
Thank
with
you.
other people walking through and supporting you, because you have made it a personal thing. It started
Mhm.
off with something with you, but you've attached it to other people who they can make it a personal thing that
Yes.
Mhm.
only waters and nurtures our childlike nature.
Mhm.
But you also have identified that this is still a business and we must
Mhm.
represent ourselves
Yes.
into a certain, a level of excellence for ourselves first.
Mhm. Yeah.
So those that may not necessarily like the fact that you're thriving, they have to
Mhm.
respect it. That's
Have
the
to
Mhm.
respect it.
difference. They
Have to
have to
respect it.
respect it. So
Have to
I
respect it.
so appreciate you being here, taking the
Thank
time,
you.
because I know you're doing your thing.
Yes.
Um, being
Thank you.
here and showing our audience and those that will come to know and hear of your name, definitely let them know where they can, reach you and
Yes.
contact what's happening,
Yeah.
what's coming up
Yeah.
next.
Yes.
I know
Please do
Heiress
that.
normally says that, but I rolled into it. So
Don't worry, baby. It's all
No,
good.
no, absolutely. So if you want to find us for the young generation, if TikTok is your thing, you can find us on TikTok, turfwarskickball.com. I'm sorry, Turf Wars Kickball. And you can also find us on Instagram under Turf Wars Kickball as well. On Facebook, our social media name is Play Mars Sports.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yes.
and there's only one S between Mars and Sports. And you can find us on there. We have videos and reels that we're posting 4 or 5 times a day. You can get a chance to check us out. And if you want to visit our website, it's turfwarskickball.com, where you can find our upcoming events. You could register for an event. You could reach out to our fan. You could check out our fan page, our merch store, previous
yes,
photos, videos, a lot of that type of stuff. And then in terms of what we have coming up next weekend, we'll be in Mesa, Arizona, hosting what we call the Midnight Madness. So while we're in Arizona in the middle of the summer, games will start at 8:30 p.m. at night and run into the morning. And so
Okay.
we'll be doing that, followed by our ESPN event, which is going to be taking place the first week of August. I'm sorry, the first week of August. We'll be in Charlotte, North Carolina, Salt Lake City, Utah,
all
Milwaukee,
right.
Wisconsin, Austin,
Mhm.
Texas. Am I missing something? Austin, Texas, and Auburn, Alabama, which will be on ESPN on there as well too. So we have a lot of cool things coming up. And yeah, we're excited.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to having my merc, my t-shirt, Turf
Yeah,
Wars.
Yes.
There,
absolutely, absolutely,
gotta do that. Gotta rep. Hello. And
absolutely.
definitely being a part. If I got to bring out the crew, the fellas and
Oh,
everybody, get the
absolutely.
stretch out. Even put
Yeah,
together a
yeah,
group type of fitness thing. Because now
yeah.
that I can work, because definitely there's a lot of y'all. It's a
Yeah,
whole
we
bunch
could,
of y'all.
you
So
know, one of the things that I think is really cool, and one of the things I'd love to talk to you about the next time we come down there is also dedicating a day where we have a recovery day, right?
I
So
say.
you came to the fields on that Saturday and did the setup, and it was a dope experience. But also looking at bringing that experience into the hotel lobby for our partner hotel,
Ashe.
and
Mhm.
players that are staying, players that not necessarily playing on Saturday but want to dedicate their Sunday to recovery. They're
Yes.
right there in the hotel, or so just kind of really kind of thinking through ways that we can work closely with the partners that we've invited on site to be a part of the experience, and really making sure that you get the most out of it.
Yes.
If you have the brick and mortar, we can set up like a pre-stretch or a recovery type of
Fabulous.
thing, where we invite them into the store on that Thursday, leading in on the Friday, and doing stuff like that.
Correct.
So yeah,
Yes, most definitely. Well, I'm here for it. I'm here for your success, regardless
thank
of
you,
Most
divine expansion,
definitely.
divine masculine. I appreciate
thank
you
you,
being a total of a multiple of traits that help
thank
Mhm.
you,
impact other people to do the same. I'm
thank
gonna
you so much.
close it off, and let Eris go ahead and
Yes.
speak that
Most
last bit of word.
most definitely. And really the title, Empress ended up coming up with this title, and literally everything: grassroots, generational identity, legacy. It takes a village to raise a community. You literally hit every single point
Thank you,
in this. It's phenomenal. And to think
thank you.
that People say, oh, a sport where you're kicking a ball.
That
Can
part.
be so much because it still is bringing in a community. And I just want to make mention a big tournament, not tournament, World Cup is going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
People are literally kicking a ball into a goal.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's bringing the whole world together. It's just something that's so phenomenal, and it really is a it's incredible. Just hearing it. I'm here in Spain, and Spain has been winning every match since the last week, and I just can hear the cheers. People are just really, it's like their togetherness type of thing. So
collective consciousness.
for you doing this regarding the kickball, it's just it's phenomenal, and also that part of that nostalgia and the fact that we're tapping back into that inner child that's always within us.
Healing.
Right? Yeah, has always said we always have that little boy, that little girl within us, no matter how old we are, we always have that. So I say asheo to that, and then also asheo to you regarding your personal development. And I nod you for that. For you, as you said, you doing the bike ride and stuff like that, and you feeling like, okay, I'm just escaping it, because I feel like no matter the age, and of course when we get older, we tend to move away from, because we have other responsibilities, things like this. And especially when people embrace that little bit of that childhood that they loved, they seem to have more of a balance. Like I've seen family men that okay, of course it's social media. Yes, I understand you don't know everything, but I feel that no, this man is doing it. He has a whole family and he's playing anime. You know what I mean? Like he has an anime. He got his Pokemon cards, but he still is a family man. He still is providing, protecting for his family, and his wife loves him. So I do see that, and I honor that, and I appreciate it. And also, one last thing, I appreciate that you listen to your queen. You know how they always say that queen is right beside you? Those little notes of what your queen has said to you end up, and you seemingly work together. So I do appreciate that, because a lot of people go, okay, no, whatever, let me get to the. You would not have had, as you said, you would not have had that call from ESPN. You would,
right?
So a shale to that. Yes.
Right, and I do want to add one last thing before we leave.
Sure.
So you said you're in Spain?
Yes.
Okay. So earlier this year, through social media, we actually got invited to host Turf Wars in Spain.
Oh, really? What part? What part of Spain?
The part of Spain is Salou.
That's H.P.S.
It's an hour from Barcelona, is what they say.
Okay, I was going to say it's H.P.S.
Is it Costa Dorada?
Costa Dorada. If you said Barcelona, it's more of the north. Barcelona is more of the north. Then. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm not sure if that's like the actual city or if that's just like the name of the fields, but I'm actually, as we're on the phone, I'm looking at the packaging that they sent to us. They want to fly us over to Spain.
Yeah.
And we were invited by the agent of commercial sports and events for the Department of Sports and Events for Spain. They invited us. They want us to come to Spain and host a tournament there. They found us on social media.
Oh my gosh!
I was supposed to come in April. It's called Salou. It's spelled Salou. That's the part of Spain. Salou, Spain.
Salou.
Yes,
I think I've heard of that.
We definitely will stay in touch, because she's definitely.
I almost said this. I did almost say this, and it's funny that because Spain is a football sport, and I mean football, European football, which they're kicking the ball with it, and I'm just like, they will go like, all we gotta do is kick the ball. They just they're known for that. So the fact that you said that they're some part of, are they doing kickball there, or were they just interested in entering a new sport such as kickball?
They wanted us to introduce it. Yep, they caught wind of us on social
Perfect.
media, and they asked us to bring it to Spain.
Oh,
So
perfect.
Awesome.
it's possible
Yes.
2020, 2027, maybe 2028, we'll be bringing
Oh,
turtles to
Definitely
Spain.
seriously do it because they will jump on that. And there's a
yes.
lot of things too, I must say. Um, I know they will because okay, football, European football is something. It's very like there's a lot of kids and even young
Yes.
adults, older adults that their dream was just to get into the football, the proper professional football league. It's
Mhm.
very similar to American football, you know, where it's like that dream, and then you
Hmm.
sometimes they don't make the draft, all this type of things. And
Hmm.
also, some of them may have dealt with some injuries or whatever because it does require running. I think
Hmm.
the kickball would still bring that feeling back, and maybe,
Mm.
for
Hmm.
example, the ones with
It's
the
new.
injuries, they're not
Hmm.
having to run so
Yep.
much, even though there
Mm.
still
Hmm.
is running, but it's a big ass, football field. But
Yep.
Oh.
anyway, so I believe they definitely would like that.
Oh,
Most
there's a
definitely,
lot that can be
the
talked
opportunity
about
out.
there. It definitely
Yep.
can expand.
It can
We'll talk
expand. They love it.
behind the scenes about that
Yeah,
because
we're gonna
I
do it.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
We'll do it. We'll do it.
Yeah,
Real good.
most definitely, most definitely.
Real
Definitely send
good.
me those details. And I'll look at Salou if you said it was up in Barcelona. But most definitely, thank you so much for
You're
taking the
welcome.
time and being on this platform. I
Thank
greatly,
you.
Appreciate
greatly
you.
appreciate it.
I appreciate you, ladies, so
Um,
much. Thank you for
yeah.
having me.
Yes, and I appreciate that, and also I would love to see the more expansion for you. And thank you, Yeye, for introducing him also to me, sharing him and stuff like that. I do greatly. I love this interview. I really, really do.
Thank you.
I love
I
Thank
absolutely
you.
love it. I've been
it.
smiling. My cheeks are all hot. Just
Yes,
like,
yes,
just
Thank
so
you.
firm.
Thank you,
So
ladies. Thank
I'm
you, ladies, so
trusting
much.
that all the viewing audience will take time to make sure that you look down in the caption of the video. Find out his information. Go research it for yourself. Take the
yes.
time to
All
go
down
kick a ball yourself, honey, out in the
Yeah,
grass.
absolutely.
Get back into the
Absolutely.
rhythm, the groove of it, and continue healing the inner child. And I
there.
Yeah.
say all divine gratitude to you, your wife. Much expansion, honey.
I
Thank
say,
you.
Quiero mucho.
Thank you.
Ciao,
thank you,
I
beloved.
thank
appreciate
you,
you.
thank
Ashe,
you. And thank
beloved.
you everyone for watching this live, and we'll see you next time. All right, ciao.
All
Ciao,
right.
beloved.
See you, ladies. All right.